Hello and welcome to today's coaching call and community conversation. Today we are going to be talking about weight gain and why food's not the problem. So if you're new, welcome. My name is Diane Parham. I'm the creator of the online course and community, the Intermittent Fasting for Today's Aging Woman. So as promised, today we're going to talk about why it is food is not the problem, why food is not the reason why we are gaining weight, and what it is that we need to really start thinking about, especially as aging women in today's world, is our thoughts, our mindset around how we are showing up for ourselves, what it is that we say that we really want, so that we can get to the solution to what so many of us think is our problem, and that's our inability to lose weight. So let's talk about some of the things that I believe as a coach for women are really the things that are keeping us from looking and feeling our best and living our most authentic life. And they have nothing to do with food directly and everything to do with food indirectly. So let's break it down. Now, if you are a member or a graduate of the intermittent fasting course, you know we talk about this subject inside the course. It's one of our lessons that I teach. I believe it's in the third, maybe it's the second week. And it's how we show up mentally and emotionally when food is present. That's really the problem most of us are having with food. And I know that for myself before I started doing this work. And I know this because of the feedback that I get from so many women in our community when we start to talk about where they're frustrated or why they're stuck. And it really has to do with how they think or how they're not thinking in a food choice situation. And we tend to blame food for why it is we're feeling fatigued, or we're not losing weight, or we're hoarding all this body fat, or we're having to now suddenly manage a lot of diseases and illnesses as we age. And we think it's because we're broken or there's something wrong with us. And it really is just thoughts. It's the thoughts that we make that tend to lead us into decision making processes. So how we show up mentally and emotionally when food is present is the problem. And let me break down for you why this is the case. And there's 4 areas that I believe really do determine how we show up mentally and physically around food. So there's a need for food. So we know that we cannot do without food. That's one of the reasons why food is one of the biggest, things that has become difficult for us to manage in our life, is because we can't just exit out of food. We need food for our basic survival. And as we age, nutrients for our best survival. But not many of us really think about food being nutrients because we're so stressed out and stuck on but the calories, but the macros, right? And we're so worried about getting food perfect in the form of what someone else is telling us to do, that we're concentrating on counting numbers and we're not taking the time to evaluate ingredients or nutrient values of food. If you get the best nutrients for your survival as a woman in today's world, you will never have a weight problem. I'm going to say that again. If you think about the nutrients that you need and the ingredients that are in the food choices that you're making, and you're choosing the best for your survival, you will never have a weight problem, because your body is going to know exactly what to do with what you're putting inside of it. The confusion and the problem that comes with our body and how it's breaking down as we get older, and why it is we have weight problems and body fat problems and hormonal problems and cognitive issues as we age, is because we aren't choosing nutrients and we don't evaluate ingredients. We just eat and we don't think about how our body is processing what we're putting into it until oftentimes it's too late, right? So if you start thinking about that today, I promise you your weight issues will be irrelevant and you'll get to go live your best life. The other factor that causes us to show up mentally and emotionally in maybe not the most favorable state when food is present is the want. This is where we start to justify by using words like, yeah, but, and only this one time, right? So we justify making a poor decision for ourselves because, It's just this one time. Or, yeah, but someone said to me on the internet that it's okay if I do this thing. And those were the words that I was looking for and music to my ears, because now I have permission from this stranger to do what I probably think is not going to work for me, but they gave me permission, so I'm going to do it anyways, and I'm just not going to think about it. And then we find ourselves in this dilemma and frustration. And yeah, but they said it was going to be okay. And yeah, but they said it was going to work for me and it doesn't. So I must be broken. Right. And then we blame the outside world and we never take accountability, or we never take responsibility for ourselves. And so why would we ever go here when this is justifiable? Someone else told me I could do it, so it's their fault that I'm not able to lose weight, or I'm hoarding all this body fat, or I'm sick. This is very, very common with the creamer in the coffee situation. And yeah, but they said sweetener doesn't break a fast. Yeah, but they said, okay, but is that working for you? Right. And so our wants in the moment supersedes what it is we say that we really want. And when you get really clear about what it is you say that you really want, the decisions and the actions that you take will not need to be justified by someone in the outside world, because you will be only concerned about meeting your body's needs. That's it. Super simple. The third area that gets a lot of us in trouble is the desire. Yeah, but I crave sweets after dinner. Yeah, but I crave chocolate. I can't imagine ever having a cup of coffee without my hazelnut creamer in it, but I will do anything to lose weight. When your desire for the things that you know are holding you back is greater than what it is that you say that you really want for yourself, you will always be frustrated, stuck, and disappointed with what your body's not doing, because your body's going to do exactly what you're providing it with to do, right? And if you're craving things and justifying the craving, so these two go pretty hand in hand, right? So you desire things, then oftentimes we seek out validation from strangers on the internet who say, yeah, but it's okay. Coffee creamer is fine. Half and half is fine. Sweetener is fine. See, I knew it was fine. I'm going to go back to this because now I have permission. And then we sit around feeling frustrated and beating ourselves up. When we get through this part and we're feeling frustrated because of the yeah, buts and the only, and they said I could, and we're not getting the results that we're hoping for, we often move into the soothe category. This is where a lot of us women get stuck with the self-sabotage, falling off the wagon, throwing in towels, all the things we talk about here that don't really exist. But again, we can justify in our own thought process, right? I didn't lose weight because I always fall off the wagon. I can't lose weight because I always throw in the towel when XYZ happens. I'm not good or capable of doing those kind of things because I am a self-sabotager. If those things are working for you, congratulations, you're winning at that. There should be no conflict in your brain, because what you say you want is exactly as what's happening. But if you're not liking those conversations and you don't like those statements and you don't like living your life that way, then we have to really do the work on why it is you check out. Why it is when something in life happens that's not perfect or it doesn't go according to plan, you do harm to yourself. Why is it that you are okay with that? And what can we do in our thought process, or what can we do in an emotional state to catch ourselves, right? And I often call this the pause, where we take the pause to just think about what's going to happen immediately after we partake in this decision we're about to do. And are we going to be okay with that, right? So we can really work on, if you are a soothing kind of person, by just incorporating a pause, or what I also like to call a tripwire, right? Something that's going to trip you back into consciousness so you don't end up in this place. This is where so many people have a downward spiral that's almost unstoppable. This is where, if you don't catch this or you don't recognize this in yourself, and you're doing a lot of the blame game for other people telling you what you can do when they don't really even know you, then this is where things get so out of control that you probably are going to have to wait for something in your life to drastically happen For me, it was becoming a pre-diabetic, where I was like, hey, wait, why am I listening to other people? And why am I following diet plans and nutrition programs that have nothing to do with me in the state that my body's currently in? And what's going to get me out of this? And for me, it was becoming a pre-diabetic and losing my mind, like literally losing my mind. And it knocked me right back up into this category. Do not wait until you're knocked up into a category where you have to do things to save your life. Every person, every woman specifically in this community has all the information nutritionally that you need to make informed choices about how to age well, how to lose weight, how to lose body fat. There really is no new science. There's science that's tweaked. There's maybe new groups that are added into science. But if you do the basic, I understand basically what I need to do to live a happy and healthy life. And you do that on rinse and repeat, and you catch yourself in the emotional and the mental states where we tend to do harm for ourselves more often, you will be able to reverse whatever it is you're unhappy with your current life. I can tell you that because that was me. I teach you from a platform of my own self-awareness and my own having to reverse a lot of what was going on with me. And the biggest gift that I gave myself with practicing this intermittent fasting lifestyle, now that I have taught to tens of thousands of women all over the world, and hopefully I will be able to have an opportunity to teach to you, is that we have to do the work for ourselves. We have to implement information that so many of us are on desperate research mode. Just put some things into practice and test them out, and then get really clear for yourself. Here's what I say that I want. I really want to lose 10 pounds. I really want to lose 20 pounds. I really want to feel in control of my life. And then what decisions can I make on rinse and repeat, meaning that you figure out the very common sense approaches that you need to make. And then when you figure those out, you rinse and repeat them until you get to the result that you want. And then you keep rinse and repeating them so that you can keep the results that you just achieved. When we do this for ourselves, everything in our body works in harmony with our brain. When you say you really want to lose 10 pounds and then you're doing the yeah, but and the only, but the guy on the internet said that I could, put creamer in my coffee and stevia in my coffee, and he's really buff and he's good looking. So why wouldn't it work for me? You're creating a conflict because you are not him. You are not him, and you're going to live in this conflict, and then you're going to resort to these kind of actions because you don't even want to think about it anymore. You're just going to do what feels good in the moment. Nothing great has ever been achieved for us or by us as women when we take the easy route or we go with what's easy in the moment. There is going to be a little bit of discomfort. There is going to be a little bit of awkwardness. There is going to be a way that you have to show up differently for yourself around the people that you love and the people who say that love you the most. That's just the way it works. But once you get there, I promise you, you will be home free because all you have to do is keep implementing what it is you say you want and back that up with the decisions you're going to make to get there. It is super simple. This is exactly what we teach inside the intermittent fasting course. This comes right out of one of the lessons inside of your course, where we talk about it a little bit more in depth, and we really start to create the awareness of why we're doing this and why we're justifying this and why we're letting people do this to us when really this is all we need and we have all the information available to us. It is more mental and emotional than it ever is about how many grams of protein you're eating and should you eat this carbohydrate and why is fat the thing that you've been missing. Like, it's so much more important than that, right? But once you get the mental and emotional side of it, that stuff does become easy because you're just going to make better choices for yourself.